Welcome to the LiT Baron of Life. This is your host, Lucas Taylor, and today we're going to be reading Ecclesiastes 5 through 8. Let's get started. Do not be quick with your mouth, nor hasty in your heart to utter a word in God's presence. For God is in heaven, and you are on earth. Therefore, let your words be few. As a dream comes with excessive burdens, so a fool's voice with too many words. When you swear a vow to God, don't delay in fulfilling it, for he takes no delight in fools. Pay what you vow. It is better for you not to vow than to vow and not pay. Don't let your mouth lead your flesh to sin, and don't say before the messenger, "It was a mistake." Why should God be angry at your voice and destroy the work of your hands? Many dreams and many words are meaningless. Therefore, fear God. Bureaucratic oppression. If you see the oppression of the poor, of perversion of justice and righteousness in the province, do not be shocked at the matter. For one authority watches over another authority, and higher ones are over them. Though the profit of the land is taken by all, a king is served by the fields. Futility of wealth. A lover of money never has enough money, and a lover of wealth is never satisfied with his income. This too is futile. When goods increase, so do those who consume them. So what advantage are they to the owner except he sees it with his eyes? The sleep of the laborer is sweet, whether he eats little or much, but the excess of the rich permits no sleep. There is grievous wrong that I have seen under the sun, wealth hoarded by its owner to his own hurt, or wealth lost in a bad investment. And when he fathers a son, there is nothing in his hand. As he came from his mother womb, naked he will return as he came. He takes nothing from his labor that he can carry in his hand. This too is a grievous wrong. Just as he came, so he will go. So what does he gain from his toiling for the wind? So all his days he eats darkness, and he has much grief, sickness, and humiliation. Behold, this is what I myself have seen. It is beneficial and good for one to eat and drink, and to enjoy all of his toil that he labors under the sun during the few days of his life that God has given him, for this is his reward. Additionally, everyone to whom God has given riches and wealth, and empowers him to eat from it, to receive his share, and to rejoice in his labor, this is a gift of a God. For he will not often consider the days of his life, since God keeps him occupied with the joy of his heart. Futility of living without God. There is a misery that I have seen under the sun, and it is heavy upon humanity. God gives a man riches, wealth, and honor, so that he lacks nothing that his heart desires. Yet God does not enable him to eat from it. Instead, a foreigner will eat it. This is fruitless and agonizing illness. Even if a man should father 100 children and live many years, however many the days of his years may be, yet his soul is never satisfied with his prosperity, and he does not have a proper burial. Then I say that it is better for the stillborn than have him. Even though it comes in futility and departs in darkness, through its name is shrouded in darkness. Though it's never seen or experienced the sun, it has more rest than the other. Even if the other man were to live 1,000 years twice and never enjoy good things, do not all go to the same place? All a man's labor is for his mouth, yet his appetite is not satisfied. So what advantage has the wise over the fool? What does the pauper gain by knowing how to walk before the living. Better is it what the eyes see than the pursuit of the soul's desires. This too is fleeting and striving after the wind. Whatever exists has already been named, and it has been made known that humanity is, but man cannot contend with the one who is mightier than he. When there are many words, futility increases. How does that benefit anyone? For who knows what is good for one during his life, during the few days of his fleeting life that pass like a shadow? For who can tell a person what happens after him under the sun? Lessons from mourning. Better is a good reputation than precious oil, and the day of death than the day of birth. Better to go to the house of mourning than to go to the house of feasting, since that is the end of all mankind, and living should take it to heart. Grief is better than laughter, for though the face is sad, the heart may be glad. This is the heart of the wise, is in a house of mourning, but the heart of fools is in the house of pleasure. Wisdom better than folly. Better to hear a rebuke from the wise than to listen to the song of fools. For like the crackling of thorns under a pot, so is the laughter of the fool. This too is vapor. For extortion drives a wise man crazy, and a bribe corrupts the heart. Better the end of a matter than its beginning. Better a patient spirit than a proud one. Do not be quickly provoked in your spirit, for anger settles in the bosom of fools. Do not say, "Why were the old days better than these?" For it is not from wisdom that you ask about this. Wisdom is as good as an inheritance, and even better for those who see the sun. For wisdom is a shelter, as money is a shelter. But the advantage of knowledge is this: wisdom preserves the life of the one who possesses it. Consider the work of God, for who can straighten what he has bent? In a time of prosperity, prosper, but in a time of adversity, consider. God has made one as well as the other. Therefore, man cannot discover anything about his future. Avoid extremes. During my fleeting days, I have seen both of these things. Sometimes a righteous one perishes in his righteousness, and sometimes a wicked one lives long in his wickedness. Do not be overly righteous nor overly wise. Why confound yourself? Do not be overly wicked, and do not be a fool. Why die before your time? It is good to grasp the one and not withdraw your hand from the other. For the one who fears God will escape both extremes. Wisdom makes a wise man stronger than 10 rulers in a city. Surely there is not a righteous person on earth who does what is good and doesn't sin. Also, do not pay attention to every word people say, otherwise you might hear your servant mocking you. For your heart knows that many times you too have mocked others. And all this I have tested with wisdom, and I said, I determined to be wise, but it was far from me. Whatever it may be, it is far off and very profound. Who can fathom it? So I turned my heart to understand, to search and seek out wisdom and explanation of things, and to know the stupidity of wickedness and madness of folly. I find more bitter than death the woman who is a snare, whose heart is a trap, and whose hands are chains. He who pleases God will escape her, but a sinner will be captured by her. Look, said Colette, I have discovered this while adding one thing to another to find the scheme of things. which my soul is still seeking, but not finding. I found one upright man among 1,000, but one upright woman among them all I have not found. Only this I have discovered. God made mankind upright, but they went seeking after many schemes. Wisdom's light and limits. Who is like the wise person, who knows the meanings of matter? A person's wisdom makes his face shine, transforming the harshness of his face. I say, obey the king's command, and especially in regard to the oath of God. Do not be hasty to rush out of his presence. Do not stand up for an evil cause, because he will do whatever he desires. Since the word of a king has authority, who can say to him, "What are you doing?" Whoever obeys his command will not experience harm, and a wise person's heart discerns the proper time and procedure. For there is a proper time and procedure for every matter. Though a person's trouble is heavy upon him, since no one knows what will be, who can tell it when it will happen? No one has authority over the wind to restrain it, nor authority over the day of death. As no one is discharged during a battle, so wickedness cannot rescue its master. I have seen all this while applying my mind to everything done under the sun. Sometimes one person dominates another person to his own harm. Then I saw the wicked buried. They used to come and go from the holy place, but will soon be forgotten in the very city where they did this. This too is meaningless. When the sentence against a crime is not swiftly carried out, the human heart is encouraged to do evil. Even though a sinner might commit 100 crimes and prolong his days, yet I know that it will be well for those who fear God, for those who revere him. But it will not go well with the wicked, and he will not lengthen his days like a shadow, because he does not fear God. There is another enigma that occurs upon the earth. There are righteous people who are requited according to the work of the wicked, and there are wicked people who are requited according to the work of the righteous. I said, this also is meaningless. So I recommend enjoyment, because there is nothing better for humanity under the sun except to eat, drink, and enjoy. So this joy will accompany him in his labor all the days of his life that God gives him under the sun. When I applied my heart to know wisdom and to observe the activity that is done upon the earth, his eyes, not seeing sleep either day or night, then I saw all the work of God. No one can comprehend the work that is done under the sun, despite all human efforts to seek it out. No one comprehends. Even if a wise person claims to know, he cannot really comprehend. And that concludes our reading of Ecclesiastes 5 through 8. If you have any questions about anything, there's some recommended non-sponsored resources down below. And also, the fortune cookie of today is all generalities are false. Now, when I read this before recording, I was kind of curious on what generalities mean. And according to the dictionary, it means a vague or inadequate statement, the quality or state of being general. And this is according to Merriam-Webster. So that was pretty interesting. Not sure I agree with it. Not sure I understand completely what it means. But anyways, today's national days. So before I was just reading one national day for the last 2 episodes, but today I'm going to read 3 because there's 3 today. So the first one is National Skip the Straw Day. has something to do with not using a straw because it's bad for the environment. So that's a good holiday to celebrate. Also, National Pistachio Day, my favorite nut out of all of them. So pretty good. And then also the final national day today is National Tell a Fairy Tale Day. I think, let's see, what fairy tale should I tell? How about the Three Little Pigs? So there was 3 little pigs, and they were leaving home. They're going off to college, but they decided they want to each build their houses. And the first pig built his house of popsicle sticks that he got from his local craft shop. And then the second pig, he built his house of, he built it out of popsicle sticks and glass. So he had kind of an artsy house. And then the final pig, he built his house out of reinforced steel. But then what happened was this inspector came along. He was like a building permit inspector, and he happened to be a wolf. So he went to check out the first pig, and that first pig, well, it turns out he didn't have a building permit. So this big bad wolf guy, he blew the house down with a big crane and a whole factory thing, and then he arrested the pig, and he later ate him, but that wasn't part of his job. But anyways, so then after he ate him, he went to the second house, and then that second pig who had the glass and stick house, well, the big bad wolf noticed that this pig also didn't have a building permit, so he clearly destroyed this house as well, and arrested him, and then unofficially ate the pig. And then the final pig, he ended up trying to demolish, but the reinforced steel was too much. So that pig was safe in his bunker, and that pig later went off to some undisclosed country, escaping the big bad wolf. But eventually the big bad wolf got arrested because of him eating the pigs unofficially. So there you go, the end. Hope you enjoyed that story. And the deep question of today: are you religious or spiritual? Yeah, I am. I'm pretty religious. I love the Bible. I'm certainly more religious than anyone around me. I mean, maybe not my parents. My parents are pretty religious, but most people around me. So I like the Bible probably more than most people do. Kind of a Bible nerd, or at least trying to be. So, well, I'm not just trying to be. I know I've learned quite a bit. But anyways, what about you? If you like what you heard, please share this show. If you're a podcast listener, please review and subscribe to the show. If you're a YouTube watcher, then please like, subscribe, comment, and of course share. Thanks.